One of the biggest problems in Africa is formal education. You see, school is never a scam, but in Africa, the system has almost turned formal education into a scam because there's no strategic effort to identify the skill area of the individual to ensure that they study what is relevant to their skills that would help them master their skills and innovative ideas. Education is supposed to bring out the best in every individual who goes through it, and one must be put in the right education to help bring out the best out of them. But because we don't know what a child will be good at, we place them on general education in order to identify what seems to be their interest area and then help them develop it along the line. But unfortunately, most African countries, if not all, have a very oral and boring education that majorly trains a child on how to memorize and not how to identify themselves and what they can practically do with their minds and their hands. So by the time you complete junior high level and move into the senior high level, it is either the courses your friends choose to study that determines what you also study, or where the computer randomly selects for you without any emphasis on whether or not the school or even the course would fit a skill that is found in you. After schooling all the way from kindergarten to senior high level, the school system in Africa would have probably never helped you define your skills yet. So you will end up in a university or a college just guessing that if Mr. A did business administration and got a job, then let me also study business administration with the hope of coming out to get a job and start a life. So the question is, if every young man in Africa goes through this form of education, is it a school dropout who would then establish businesses and create jobs, or what would be the outcome of our education system? Now that we've put all emphasis on those who attain degrees to the neglect of the many young ones who could have used their minds and hands to create things that could equally drive economies. Is it not millions of graduates we will raise in suit looking for jobs on the street but would not find? Would we not increase crime rates? Would we not increase poverty rate? Would we not increase sickness rate? Would we not even increase death rate? And when that happens, the great Africa we are all aspiring to have, where would it be? Can't we see that this form of education is the reason we have many politicians, if not all, who can talk very well, memorize their constitution, and even use another man's language to intimidate one another, come back to nothing on a solution table, and turn around to blame it all on external economic factors? Listen, it wasn't your fault that you went through this form of education. But let's be frank with ourselves. The moment you complete tertiary education, the rest of your life decisions, especially when it has to do with further education, would be your fault if you ever make any avoidable mistake. Listen carefully. When you get to the level that you attain a diploma, HND, or even a bachelor's degree, before you find a job or think of going for further studies, ask yourself, what at all is my purpose on earth? And what do I find passion in doing, even when nobody is willing to pay me for it? What form of education do I need from now on in order to nurture and master that passion or skill to add value to my life and to the economy? Because it is your defined true purpose on earth that can easily make you a fortune, not a job. Once you do this, you might find out that you are interested in research and educational matters. Then you go for additional certificate in education to rise to becoming that professor you so wish to be. But if you find out that you are passionate about entertainment, do you still need to follow your colleagues to the University of Lagos for additional degrees in teaching? Do you want to be teaching on stage? If you find out you are passionate about climbing the corporate ladder, then you go for a course in management or HRM to develop that leadership qualities in you and rise to the top. But if you find out that you are passionate about designing a media staff, then you look for a media school for training, not necessarily going to sit in a classroom for another 2 years for a master's degrees that doesn't even correlate with your passion or skill. You have gone through an oral education all the way from kindergarten to tertiary level, learning all the necessary and unnecessary stuffs that were discovered many years ago, attaining all the bachelor's degrees, the HNDs and the diplomas, probably for about 25 years or more. You are now suffering on the street, looking for a job up and down, and you still want to go for another degree without really sitting down to find out the kind of education you need to master your skills and passion by just merely looking for additional certificates? I mean, how do you want to be an entrepreneur, but you've gone to University of Ghana to study for masters in mathematics? Do you want to teach your employees mathematics? How do you want to be an event organizer or even a designer, and you are following the tens of thousands of teachers going for some which course to be rooted more in teaching? Is that not a misguided priority? Listen, I want to charge you. Further education is not bad, but you've got to know yourself immediately after school and study what is relevant to your passion and your skills and grow yourself in it to the top. That is your life-changing opportunity, not just studying anything called masters and now waiting for your so-called destiny helper, which puts you at the mercy of big men and politicians. Master's degrees are not made for everybody. Let me be frank with you. If you don't stop chasing everything additional certificate, if you don't find your right passion or skill in life in order to choose the kind of education that fits it, the system will auto-direct you from kindergarten to a low-income job, from a low-income job to a poor retirement, and from the poor retirement to your poor grave. And you would have just passed through this beautiful earth without any sense of purpose, no enjoyable moment, and not even a single legacy left behind for your children. But sadly enough, your leaders who set up this entrapment system would have built companies and established schools, taking their families abroad for better education, and they will leave legacies for their children to continue to rule you and your generation. They would even tell your children in the future their parents, which is you, were lazy and never had a good life, and that is why they, your children, don't also have a good life. That is when you begin to explain all the reasons you failed. It would have been too late. This is why it is no longer a choice, but a compulsion for you and I to get wiser about the system and fix our lives the right way, rather than subjecting ourselves to a failed generational system and ending up with huge regrets. Look, school is not a scam, but systems can use it to scam you till death. Comment redefining your life's purpose if this message resonates with you, and I will see you again another time.